All right. I wanted to do this episode because this is a theme that came up so much during scholarship and on the calls that I am taking. And it's something that I struggle with myself too. And I swear I hear over and over, I just have too much going on right now. Or when I do something, I need to go all in. I want to fully devote myself. I want to make sure I can really give this my all. And every time I hear those phrases or something similar to that, I understand it because naturally I operate that way too. And I put so much pressure on myself to need to do everything to the best of my ability and do everything at once. And I think a lot of high performers are exactly like this.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I feel like it's like the complete opposite of being lazy, right? And so, like from just the wide lens type of thing, it sounds great. Like someone's like, I want to go all in. I'm working as hard as I can. You're like, hey, that's awesome. Like that's the direction we need to go in. But I feel like when we look at our lives, like how often are we really in a good spot to like go all in with? And what I mean by that is nothing in our way. Where it's
Mhm.
like the circumstance situation is like perfect. There's nothing that's gonna prevent us from succeeding. And I feel like that's almost like never, right? Like we just don't stay in any kind of perfectly controlled lane for a long time. And I was thinking about an example, like a lot of people will say, like, well, I need to eat better. And it'll be like, well, I'm gonna eat better next week. Because in their mind, like this week is busy, it's crazy. Next week's not gonna be as bad. But then next week there's like a birthday party or a big football game, or the World Cup is coming up, or a work lunch, or a vacation, or a night out with friends. There's always going to be something. And so if you keep pushing it back for a week with no temptations or celebrations or disruptions, like it's just you're gonna be waiting forever. And I think
Right.
that's what a lot of people end up doing. And they look back and like, wow, that was a long time. So the problem is like when all in becomes like a standard, like anything less than that to a lot of people, like you talked about high performers, it starts to feel like a failure. Like if they can't go all in, then they just failed. Right. And so people end up getting stuck in the cycle, of like overcommitting, and then they fall short and then they have to restart everything. And it creates like these expectations that don't really match like what reality is. And then of course, then you feel like you're always losing. And so if the standard is consistency, then that goal and that mindset that can shift. And so it's not like about max effort like every single day. It's about showing up for yourself, showing up a way that like actually fits what life is going to be more like in reality.
hmm Yeah, and like you said, on paper, it's like it seems like a good mentality to have. It's like, oh, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. But in reality, what I've seen is it's just an excuse. Like you're going to continue to stay stuck. You're going to continue to stay in the same cycles and not get anywhere, not achieve your goals because you're waiting for this time to go all in. And which will, that's something we'll get into in a little bit too, where your definition of all in isn't even like the right definition. I'm probably not articulating that the right way, but it's like there's different ways to view it, which we'll touch on in a bit. But it's like every time that you're telling yourself this, it's you're just putting off your goals and continue to stay stuck and making it harder and harder to actually get where you want to be. And so I think it's so important to address this because it's something I hear so often. And because so many people are so busy, we have so much going on, it's easy to be like, oh, like, I want to make sure I can fully devote to it. But that time's never going to come, like you were saying.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And again, like this is something I think we all struggle with. I know I do. I put all that pressure on myself to need to do everything to the best of my ability. And I keep raising the bar. I keep adding on the things I need to do. And that becomes a new standard, especially when it comes to business and work stuff that I'm doing. Or when like with my training as well. Like, okay, it's everything. It's like work. Me and you were joking this week about my to-do list. Is like the to-do list has a to-do list within it, and it never ends. And like I keep adding to my daily to-do list, and then that becomes the standard that I have to do every single day.
You have like a multiple layer to do this. Like there's a
Oh,
to-do list with a to-do list on a to-do list of a to-do list.
yes, literally, it's it's hilarious. Also crazy, but it's like yeah, I keep adding stuff on. And like every single week I'll add on work tasks. I'm like, oh, I want to be able to do that. And so I add on my weekly to-do list that I'm doing every single week. And then that becomes the new standard. It's like if I don't do that, then I'm failing. And like then I cause more stress because I can't get through everything. And then it keeps stacking on more and more that I need to do every single week. And so it just never ends. Or even same with training. It's like I need to do my normal training. And then I'm like, oh, I want to do some cardio on top of that. Oh, I want to do my mobility. I'm like, I need to do all of these things. And then like I can't fit it in. And then I feel like I'm failing because I'm not hitting all these things. And I just keep adding more and more. And it's unrealistic.
Well,
Like same with recovery and sauna. It's like there's so many things, and all these things become the new baseline for me. And it's just like all this I think we all do that in different areas of life, and we just put that pressure on ourselves. When really, we're just creating that pressure. We're creating that definition of what being all in looks like and what being committed looks like, and it's so unrealistic. Unrealistic. Like your brain starts saying, "Okay, this is what committed look like. This is what all in looks like," and no one can sustain that. No one, and not especially not while managing work and family and relationships and stress and travel and everything else that life is throwing at you. So, of course, people are going to feel like they can't start this right now because I have too much on my plate. But you've created this giant definition of what commitment even means.
Yeah, I feel like that's kinda like the trap, right? Like, we just keep stacking more things on top of what all in is supposed to look like, or at least kinda like we were saying, like, what we create the definition that we create in our mind, right, of what
Hmm.
it's supposed to look like, until it becomes, like, something like nobody can actually maintain, or especially ourselves, and then it becomes, like, a lot of pressure, and then we start creating this anxiety, and we start going backwards instead of going forward and creating progress. We just cause more, and when that becomes that standard, it makes sense that people feel like, hey, you know what, I can't start because it's already that bar's already been set at such an unrealistic level from the beginning. And reality, I mean, real commitment really is just isn't doing everything at once, right? It's not getting all of that done. It's just doing the right things consistently, even when life is full, and doing what you can do, and then doing the best you can of the things you are doing.
Hmm. Yeah, and I get it. It can feel overwhelming, especially when you're putting all that pressure on yourself. And then like your mental emotional capacity is just tapped. Even like time wise, you just feel tapped out. So you're like you can't even fathom adding on anything more. And I feel like that's kind of where I've been at the last few months. Like when I get into the stages of burnout, I'm just like, I literally like me and you were joking too about trying to like reschedule a podcast. I'm like, just the fact of trying to figure out when to move our podcast recording, I was like, I can't handle it. I feel like that's a good example of that.
As we talk about this episode, right?
Yes, very timely.
Well, and when we talk about living a healthier lifestyle and working out and making better decisions in nutrition and getting sleep, like a large part of that is supposed to alleviate a lot of the stress in life. It's supposed to help you to be able to manage it better or remove some of that or just create a better lifestyle. And so, we don't want it to be like your fitness journey is competing with our lifestyle, right? It's supposed
Mhm.
to add to your life. It's supposed to make things better, not be in complete competition with it. And so somewhere along the way, a lot of times it just turns into just another thing people feel like they have to manage. And it's whether it's like another box to check or just another place they feel like, oh, I failed this, I didn't get this done. And it's like we said, it's never meant to take anything away from you. It should add to your life. One of the things we talk about when we're talking about clients with nutrition is I don't want to go in there and take away all these things right away. I want to see if I can add some things first. And the same thing, like we want our fitness journey, we want all this that we're doing to give you more energy, to give you more confidence, to give you more clarity, to give you more capacity to handle all the other things in life. Right. That this should be the joyful part of it. And if it's done right, then it does fit in your life. And it support well, it more than supports it. It creates much more positive life and it doesn't like take it over.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think if you're in a position where you realize, "Hey, like, it feels like another box to check, it feels like a burden, I feel like I can't do it," then it's just honestly, your approach is wrong then because, like, when you have the right structure and the right systems, it should feel this way. It should add and enhance your life, and it's okay. It's like, that just means you need to make some adjustments, and that's what I've seen too, like, when the reason that we wanna do this episode is 'cause we launched a scholarship where we're giving away free coaching to someone and then a bunch of partial scholarships, and while I was getting people to go and apply for free coaching, like, literally, it's like, "We're gonna do it all for you." I had so many people, they were just like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, "Excuse me, what? Like, what do you mean you're good? Like, we're literally like, there's no strings attached. Like, you just need to apply and you could win free coaching." So I was just so baffled. And they're like, "No, I just have too much going on. I can't handle it." I'm like, that's literally why we have this. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
And like, I wish I could drill that into people's head, but like, I understand when you're in that place, it's hard to like, even have the capacity. Or like, a lot of people don't even know like what the coaching looks like, or that fitness is supposed to be like this and it's supposed to enhance your life. And so that's why we wanted to do this and be like, "Hey, if it doesn't, if it feels like a burden, it's like something needs to change." And that's why we do what we do with clients. And that's a lot of what people miss. They, like you said, they think that starting means adding a whole extra onto the craziness they already have in their life. And fitness is supposed to enhance your life. Like we've seen in the scholarship, But again, like, wanted to reinforce that because it should give you more energy, give you more time, more direction to be able to pour into the other things that you need to do.
Well, it's that thing when you hear someone say, I'm not gonna work out today because I'm tired, I don't have any energy, I'm not in a good mood." And I'm like, this is exactly why you go work out, because I'm
Mhm,
telling you, you go work out, you will have more energy. You will be in a better mood. You will be more rested, and it's everything is going to compound in a positive way if you do that. But I get it, because it like if it, if they're making it another stressor, I get that that's like one thing that they can push to the side for the time being, and in their mind they feel like, okay, well, it's just one less thing I have to worry about today.
mhm. Yeah. And so what I want to talk about too is like what that commitment looks like. I know we were alluding to that earlier, and commitment doesn't look like going balls to the wall 100%. It's kind of what you were mentioning earlier, giving 100% of what you can. I know we talked about this in, I think, a podcast a few times back, but I think it's so important. It's like some days you're only going to have 5% to give. And if you're giving 100% of that 5%, that is all that matters. Some days you may have 20% to give, so you give 100% of that 20%. Some days you may be closer to 80 or maybe like 100, true 100%. Like that's cool. But if you're going to go all in, you're just giving what you can for that day. And you need to accept that it is not going to be 100% every single day, like hardly ever. Like, will you be at 100%? It's just showing up and doing what you can for that day and adapting the plan with your life. So, again, it enhances your life. You waiting to give 100% is the reason why you're stuck. It's the reason why you've been in this on off cycle, and it's you go hard for a little bit and then you fall off.
Mhm.
I can think of actually a lot of people that I've talked to. A couple clients come to mind too. One is Adam. He's a freaking legend.
Hey, Adam is a legend. Is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm gonna want you to speak on that because I know you working directly with him. But he did that same cycle for 10 years. He was in that mentality before he joined our program, and now he's been with us for over a year and freaking crushing it. Like I think his newest results in a scan that he was like down 60 pounds, and I forget what his in body shit is like. What body fat was he down to, and what muscle mass did he gain? Do
Oh,
you
I think he
remember?
was down to 10%. I think is the last that we got to. So yeah, I mean, and this is a DEXA scan too. So this is a pretty accurate measure, and it's improved like every time. And I mean, we didn't make anything super stressful. We didn't have some like crazy plan that no one. I mean, we prioritize consistency over anything else. We're like, hey, like no matter what happens, like we're getting our workouts in, we're doing this, we're doing that, and we took it day by day, and we just stacked up all of these wins, and that was the biggest thing, and we took a lot of pressure off the number on the scale, which I feel like a lot of people, and Adam had that too. You look on that scale and that's that big number, and I get it, I understand it's going to fluctuate, it changes a lot, and people panic over it, and they're like, oh my gosh, like this number is changing. And he actually, the last time he had that DEXA scan, his weight had gone up just a little bit. The scale number had gone up a little bit. And in the past, he would have almost kind of got a little mental panic, like, oh my gosh, it's going up. Are we doing the right thing? But he was able to look at all the other results and be like, yeah, it went up just a little bit, but man, like my body fat percentage went down and my lean body mass went up, and I'm looking amazing. Like we're looking at these pictures, I'm feeling awesome. I'm getting stronger in the gym. So there's all these other metrics that we're looking at. And so we didn't get anxious over just one little thing, right? And we focused on the process. We got to the point where we're really enjoying the journey as opposed to thinking about just the outcomes and things like, hey, let's just get stronger in the gym. Let's gain muscle. Let's not worry about losing weight right now. Let's focus on things like winning the weekend, like really prioritizing making better decisions, not just Monday through Friday, but also on the weekend. And then also learning how to reset, know that we're all going to have some kind of failures along the way. The journey's not going to be perfect. It's going to be kind of like an ups and down, peaks and valleys type of thing. But we learn how to reset. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from the things that didn't go well, and we keep moving forward, even if we have an off day. And like I said, just keep going towards that ultimate goal, and trying to make the small decisions, get those small wins every day that future Adam is just going to be so ecstatic about.
Yeah, and he's able to break that decade-long cycle, and now is like, he's one of the most consistent people I know, and like just like not even at all the same person, like mentally, emotionally, physically. So it's really cool to see how it's become a natural part of his life and be able to fit in, even despite all his travel and everything that he's had too.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of challenges. I mean, you know, like you said, he's got a lot of work. I mean, he's got a family to take care of, and he travels with work and has a, you know, he's very successful in his job. He works really hard there. I think the biggest thing is, yeah, if you looked at him right now, you would say, "Oh man, physically, like Adam, you're looking really good," and like those are some awesome wins. But I think really for him, probably the biggest thing is that mental
Mhm,
transformation. Right? I feel like his mental strength right now is so high and so impressive.
mhm. Another example, I feel like a really good example of this is Josh, another legend.
The legend too. Yes, for sure.
Yes, Josh, we love you. But I remember on our first call, he specifically told me this exact thing. He literally he came on, he's like, "No, if I wanna do it, like, I wanna make sure I can give it my all." And I was trying to, walk him through the same stuff. I was like, "Come on, like, we gotta do this now, like, this is what we help with, all this stuff." And he was like, "Nah, like, I wanna be able to go all in." And so, okay, I'm like, "Alright, fine." I checked with him, I think it was, like, a month or 2 later, and he was still in the same spot, exact same position, work was still crazy. Like he was living in 2 spots at once. He has a very demanding job. So like nothing has changed for him. And so that was a cycle for him that he was stuck in for years and years. And so many people keep themselves stuck because they think that they need to have this perfect definition of giving their all into the process. And again, that's not how it works. And so when I continued to check in with Josh, he realized, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. I just need to start because I'm not getting anywhere doing things on my own. And I'm so glad that he did because even a few months into working together, he had an unexpected open heart surgery, and without starting, like, we don't know what that would have been like for him. Now, granted, that's, like, a more extreme example of how it could potentially save his life of, like, literally starting now, and we always joke with him, is like, we didn't know, but we were training for that, for his recovery, for his resilience, the strength coming out of that surgery, and even as he was coming out of that, he was the one taking a few steps down the hall of the hospital. He was getting up, trying to stay active. He was giving it his all, and if you woulda looked at that from the outside perspective, maybe someone would think, like, he's just getting a few steps, but, like, he was all in. He was 100% in, even if it was just a small percentage of like what his true max capacity is. But like it's amazing. It's incredible what he's able to do, and like now his transformation is insane as well. And so I feel like he's the perfect testament of giving it your all no matter what season you're in, and it saved his life and it's changed his life now, and he's a completely different person. And like I'm so proud of him for that, and taking that step and starting when things didn't feel like the best time.
Yeah, I mean, quadruple bypass surgery. I mean, when he got done, the doctor was like, "You can have like," I can't remember. It was like under 1,000 steps or something. It was like a super low number, and it was like you can't do anything. You know, you can't hold anything greater than like 5 pounds or whatever it was. I mean, it's super low. And if he had that mindset of, well, if I can't go all in, then I'm not going to do anything.
Mhm.
Then I don't know where he would have been, to be honest with you, health wise, right
Yeah.
now. But he would walk around his room. He would walk around the hallway. I mean, he traveled all the time. You know, like you said, he has a very demanding job, very high stress job. I mean, there would be days where it was like raining outside, and he's like, I'm just going to drive to the mall and walk around the mall. Like he was constantly finding ways to do what he could, you know, to get in his steps. And if he couldn't work out, then it was like, okay, well, how many steps can I get today? And how can I push myself just a little bit? And then and he's continued to have a lot of challenges. And I feel like just things just keep stacking up on top of him. And he'll send me a message like, man, like this week was brutal. You know, it's like so stressful at work, and and my back was really hurting. It was really painful, and it was hard to walk, and the weather wasn't good. But then he's like, but I did this, and I showed up to the gym. I did some mobility. I got that in, and the
Mhm.
stretching was good. And I wasn't able to get, all my steps in every day, but I got it in 3 times this week. And I went to the gym, Monday and Tuesday, and, there was like 8,000 people in the gym, but I still went in there and did some, like, he's constantly finding ways to just take steps forward and
Mhm.
just pile up all these little wins. Excuse me, all these little wins. And like you said, like I actually told him that today. I was like, man, I'm so proud of you, dude. All these things that just keep coming up against you. And you're like, but I could do this and I could do
Mhm.
this. And I think that's such a great attitude. And he's going to see so many benefits because of that.
Mhm. Yeah, like, he is all in. Like, he is giving his freaking all. It just looks very different than what his definition was when we spoke initially on that
Mhm.
very first day. But, like, he's the definition of going all in, and that's what it looks like. And then I will say we have a lot of great examples, but then, unfortunately, like, there's, opposite examples too where it's, like, maybe someone like Josh who like said that and then like ended up not joining. I know there's someone in particular that I've been talking to for probably 6+ months now, and every single time I check in, he's like, "Yeah, I'm committed. I'm ready. Let's do this." And then when it's time to actually start, I'm like, nothing.
Correct, that's
And then I check back in a few months later. He's like, "Oh yeah, things have been crazy. Like I really want this." And a lot of times, naturally, like I'm gonna call people out. And I'm like, "My dude, like you could have already been at your goal. You could have already been down 30, 40 pounds. You could have more of the energy. You could feel different, but instead you're still in the same spot, telling yourself that you're committed, but your actions are showing otherwise." Because there's a big difference between wanting the change and wanting to change. Everyone wants the abs or the confidence or the energy. Uh, just like I was saying, it's like, yeah, I want a mansion on the beach and all this crazy stuff. I can say I want it, but am I willing to do the work to get there? No, like I know that I'm not willing to do the work to get to like that crazy level because like that's not really what I want. So I'm not gonna sit around and pretend like I'm actually committed to it.
I want people to take away from this is, like, stop waiting until, like, you can give your absolute everything and give your 100%. And because all that's gonna do is if you wait till you get to 100%, that's probably why you're stuck. That's why probably why you're never gonna go anywhere, right? And so the people that win aren't the people that go all in, they're the people that stay in. They're the people that just keep showing up no matter what they're in, what season they're type in, they're giving their all. And that doesn't mean giving 100% of their life, they're giving 100% of what they're able to do, right?
Mhm.
100% of what they have.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode and you feel like maybe you're one of those people who's been there sitting and thinking, like, yeah, I want to start, but I don't know where to begin, we also want to make it super easy for you. We put together our high protein recipe guide because that's one of the biggest things we hear is like, I don't have time, or I don't know what to eat, or eating healthy feels complicated. And so that's kind of the point of what we talked about today. We don't want fitness to be another stressor, another thing you have to overthink. So hopefully this will help on the food front. At least I'll drop that link in the show notes. And yeah, just share this with a friend, share this with someone that needs to hear it. It really helps us a ton in growing our podcast and be able to impact more people. So we appreciate you guys, and we will catch you all in the next one.